Hey, I'm Dr. Jessica, and I'm here today to talk to you about 4 key areas of your life that you may want to take a look at if you want to be irresistible to your woman. And right off the bat, just so you know, whether you're already in a relationship or you're single and dating, this applies to you. All right, let's get started. So if you're here, you may be experiencing one of the following situations. If you're already in a relationship, maybe you and your wife haven't had sex in years or even decades, and you're longing to feel desired by her again. Maybe when you bring up the topic of sex, she even shames you and says something like, "There's more important things in life than that." If you are having sex, you want it to be better instead of the bored, dutiful sex that you get once a month. And if you're single and dating, you're wondering why women won't answer your messages or answer for a while but then ghost you or just give you mixed signals overall. All right, so let's dive in. The first area I recommend taking a look at, and this is something that most men haven't ever considered, is are you coming across to her with needy energy? Now look, I don't want to do any need bashing here. We're humans. It's normal to have needs. It's okay to have needs. However, the difference is in how you express them to your partner. Because think about it, if your wife was really clingy and needy, does that make you respect her? Does that make you feel more attracted to her? Probably not. And the same is true for us. If a man is always coming and feeling like, oh, I really need to do this with you, it's not hot at all. It's like a wet blanket. And you know what? Desire needs spark. So are you killing the spark in your relationship or in your dating life? Here are a few questions to ask yourself to find out. Now look, this may be some of the most challenging but also most powerful work that you do in your life. And I'm going to be really real and direct with you here, but bear with me. It is for the benefit of all of us. Okay, the first question to ask yourself is, are you bending over backwards to please her in the hopes that she will reward you with sex? And again, this goes for whether you're dating. Are you betraying yourself, abandoning your center, crossing your own boundaries, or in a relationship? Are you creating unspoken transactions with her where secretly you're thinking, if I provide for her enough or if I do the dishes enough, then she'll reward me with sex? And how much is your self-worth based on feeling desired by her? And the last one, are you trying to keep her happy all the time so that she'll want sex, which makes you avoid difficult conversations and try to talk her out of any challenging feelings she may be having? All of these things can kill the spark over time and come across with needy energy. And in my coaching work with men, we antidote all of these so effectively. And I have to say, it's quite a fun and empowering process. All right, area number 2 that you probably need to look at. Are you only being affectionate with her with the intention for it to lead to sex? Again, I'm not asking you this so that you shame yourself. I'm trying to be really real and direct with you here so that we nip this in the bud as soon as possible. This happens so frequently. Sometimes men themselves tell me that for the last 20 years, the only time they ever touched their wife was when they wanted it to lead to sex. And women have told me that for decades of their marriage, they felt like a human pincushion. So just get really real with yourself around this. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you're already sex starved or affection starved or touch starved, may seem really difficult, but I promise you, it's ultimately so powerful and will change the nature of your relationship. Start to enjoy touch for the sake of touch itself. Start to look at interactions with her, at flirting with her, at affection with her, not with a goal orientation, but simply for enjoying the pleasure of the beauty of that in the moment. Another point I want to add here is that sometimes men say, oh, I give my wife massages all the time. And my question to you is, Yes, but what's the energy coming from your hands and your body in that massage? Is it this quietly resentful, needy energy? Or is it this energy of devotion, awe, and having fun and taking pleasure in the feel of her skin on your fingers? So how do you allow yourself to do that? Well, there's a few ways, but this leads us to point number 3. The next area you need to look at is, are you coming to the relationship with your pleasure cup empty? Now you may be going, what does that mean? Let me tell you. So if you're like almost every single man in our culture, you may have been taught that the only source of pleasure in life is from sex and your genitals or from women. So most men find themselves dependent on sex and women for pleasure. This puts so much pressure on her, and it can cause her to close down and not feel open and receptive to your advances. So how do you fix this? Well, there's 2 key ways that you fix this. And again, I work with you to do this in my coaching container. But the first way is to really let yourself be nourished by the sensory pleasures available in everyday life. And by sensory, I mean available through the 5 senses, like what you see, what you feel on your skin, what you hear around you, what you taste, what you smell. Now that may seem like small beans compared to an orgasm, but it can be incredibly nourishing if you let it. And this was one of the journeys of my life, so I know. The second way that we nip this in the bud is to develop a delicious, intentional self-pleasure practice. And when you relate to this practice with care and intention and joy, it can light you up inside and let you run this sexual energy through your body in a way that is really magnetic to her. The last aspect of point number 3 here, filling your own pleasure cup, is how do you treat yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you feel like going, ugh, around the idea of sending yourself love? Do you motivate yourself through relentless self-criticism? These are things that disempower you and do not allow you to be magnetic to her. And this is part of my work that I do with my clients as well. Okay, point number 4. Point number 4 is not truly understanding how women are different and what our experiences of sex and men are. Let me give you an example. As a man, have you ever said something like, nothing turns me on more than seeing my woman turned on? Probably a lot of you, right? But have you ever heard a woman say that? Now look, I'm not saying that no woman ever, anywhere said that. It certainly happens, but by and large, it's not their man's turn on that turns women on. So what is it? Well, according to Esther Perel and my experience as well, it's our own turn on. Yeah. So what that means is, in order to really allow her to have an experience of her own turn on, she needs to be in a space where she can relax, not be thinking about the to-do list, and be feeling safe to be held, to surrender, to open, where she won't be judged or criticized. Now you may be thinking, she's so wound up, she never relaxes, nothing I do seems to help her relax. I got it. I've worked with many couples in this situation, and it just takes a little bit of time and some tweaking, but you can start to find effective ways to invite her to relax with you. And often one of the key things that's missing is this foundation of safety. Also, women were taught to think of relaxing, surrendering, and receiving as weak or less than. We were taught that in order to be respected and to succeed in life, we need to be more like men. So asking us to step into this with you is a pretty big ask, and you may need to hold her through the shame that comes up there. All right, these are some of the hints of the ways that you can become irresistible to your woman. However, the how of how you put these into practice can take time, it takes guidance, it takes a willingness to see your blind spots and change up your habits. And that's the benefit of having accountability and consistency over time in coaching. Now, before we end, I want to leave you with a client story. One of my clients wrote me this message after doing this work for a while. John says, "This work has allowed me to be increasingly present and have much better communication with women. I found myself talking with many beautiful women without the overwhelming need or thought that I have to get somewhere with them. I'm enjoying the flow of conversation and the playfulness and not feeling awkward. I've noticed that I'm not coming from a needy place of seeking a woman's approval just so I can have sex with her. I'm having fun conversations and honoring my own standards for a relationship rather than just a hookup. Significantly, I've also noticed improved communication with my daughter and her mother. I have not been together with her mom for more than 4 years, mainly because of very different values and an incompatible communication style. I've been able to not only be present without getting triggered when she has strong emotions come up, but I've also been able to set clear boundaries with my daughter's mother and end any communication that crosses the line. Furthermore, I've noticed that I'm no longer feeling triggered by my mother, whereas prior to this work, I felt highly agitated pretty much every time I talked with her." All right, so the 4 areas of your life that you probably need to take a look at in order to be irresistible to your woman are: number 1, are you coming across to her with needy energy? Number 2, are you giving her affection only with the intention for it to lead to sex? Number 3, are you coming to the relationship with your pleasure cup empty? And number 4, are you truly understanding how women are different and what our experiences of sex and men are? Thanks for listening. Make sure to send me an email and let me know what your aha moments were from this video. And for those of you ready to go deeper, let me know as well. Bye for now.